Yeah. So, sorry, I think we stopped here. So, can anyone still hear me now?
Yes,
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so user experience design cut across these questions like, why are we building this product, or why do we want to have this business? Who will be, or who can we say our target audience are? Then when are we doing this? How should we satisfy our users? What are the things needed? Or what are our users' pain points? All these things come together to form your user's experience. So having said that, we can simply say user experience means the feeling users have when using a product, an application, a system, or a service. So we can ask that, is this product useful? Is this product usable? Is it valuable? Is it desirable? How accessible is this product to people? All these kind of questions are what sums up to what user experience is. So let's move forward by saying that user experience is user-focused product design. You want to put your user at the center of everything you want to. Wait, can anyone still hear me? Someone drop a message.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so we can see that user experience is, you putting your users at the center of everything you want to do. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a product, like a digital product. You want to you want to start a business, whatsoever, or the type of business you want to start. You already have who you want to serve, right? You already know, okay, my target audience will be working class, who are very busy, and they don't necessarily they don't have time to wash or do some laundry or all that. And you want to start a laundry service. So you already know who your target audience. You are putting them at the center of your business. So putting them at the center of your business means that you are building a user-focused product, or you are starting a user-focused business. Not like you're just starting anyways. Yeah, like you understand their pain points, you understand their needs. So all these will actually determine whether they would have a good experience with you or it will be the other way around. So user experience is user-first approach to product design. Like I said, like human first, your user first. That is it. That is what user should like. That is what a good UX product should be. You are putting them at the forefront. Then it applies to physical and digital products. Like I said, it can be as small as a spoon that you're using to eat. It can be as heavy as something. I've used a product, or let me say, I've used a particular spoon that is way too heavy for me to handle, right? Probably they are trying to show or let their users know that, oh, we use a quality, iron or material to make this spoon. But then I wasn't actually satisfied using the spoon. The fact that the spoon was too big and too heavy for me. So it's when you are applying an experience to something, it doesn't have to be just a digital product. If you happen to be a makeup artist, what can you say your customer or your client experience is when they are using you or when they book your service? Do you get any kind of business that you are doing, any kind of product that you have, be it digital or physical? Then it focuses on the full experience from a user's first contact to the last. So it's for, let's say you are using you are using, or you want to use an app. The experience starts from when you download the app on Play Store or App Store, right? Or let's say you have a business or you have a small company. The experience of your user starts from when they enter your organization, or maybe when they even start when they contact you online. The way you interact with them online will be their first contact. And there's a saying that said that first impression lasts longer. So if the way you interact with them isn't pleasing, you know that they would feel somehow using your products moving forward. So those are the things that sums up. So I just wanted to see it from not just the definition on Google. Try and look at your environment, look at what you use every day, look at some things that you use. How do you feel when you are using them? How do you, it can even be a phone. Let's say you get a new phone and it's just hard for you moving around. Of course, as it is, you still find time to learn to use a product, but then it shouldn't be that hard. And some items, some products, like if you get a new TV, there will be a manual in the pack for you to read. The manual is for you to know how to set it up, what are the things to look out for, and all that. So they are trying to make the experience seamless. I'm like, okay, this is our product. We put a manual there for you to read before you set it up. So all those things comes together to form the experience that you are trying to build for your product or your service. So a user experience design entails usability. Is it easy to complete a task? Is it easy to do this particular thing? Is it easy to find you guys online? Adaptability. Will people start using the product? Okay, let's say it is easy to complete a task. Will people be able to adopt this product? Because one thing is to be usable. Another thing is to be is for people to be able to adopt that product, right? So if it is usable, if it is easier for user to use, then of course, maybe there'll be the higher percentage for them to adopt that particular product because it is easy to use. And desirability is the experience fun and engaging. Like you don't just want to have a product that is just there. It's not interacting. It's just there. It's not fun. It's not engaging. That's why I always look at when you want to build a product or you want to design a product, knowing who your target audience is very important, because that would let you know the type of fun or the experience or how engaging you should make your product be. And the value, does the product provide value to users and business? Are they really getting value? Like, this is my need. Am I really getting the value, or I'm just using it because it is easy to use? So all these four things, all these four cardinal points comes together and comes together to sum up what the experience of your user is. Then being a UX designer, there are some skills that you really need to have, not just being able to carry out user research, not just being able to carry out good usability testing, not just being able to, carry out or write a good product requirement documents. It's not just all about that. There are some other skills, like key skills, that is needed as a UX designer. You need to know how to collaborate well, because you'll be working with a whole lot of people. You'll be working with engineers, you'll be working with, different stakeholders, product managers. You'll be interacting with users and all. So you really need to know how to collaborate very well. Then communication. I would say that the key skills that you must have, the key skills you must have as UX designer is your collaboration skill, your communication skill, because communication is as essential as the research you want to carry out. Communication is as essential as... Can you please mute yourself? Thank you. So communication is as essential as the research, the user research you want to carry out, or the product research you want to carry out, because how would you be able to communicate your research, your thought process? How will you be able to communicate to users, not only internally, even to your users? You should be able to communicate. So communication is very essential. If you feel like you're struggling with communication, you can go on Coursera or Udemy to take a short course on communication and how to build an effective communication, because you'll be needing this to be a successful UX designer. You really need to have or be good when it comes to communication, because you'll be communicating to everyone from your users to your stakeholders, everyone in the organization or the firm. Then empathy, you need to be able to empathize, be able to, feel or look at how do our users feel. You need to be able to understand how they feel, empathize with them, because if you don't understand how they feel, how will you be able to design or come up with solutions that will actually suit them? So empathy is very important in our as a UX designer. Then curiosity and continuous learning. There's never an end to learning. So learning is a continuous process. You just have to keep learning. You need to keep evolving. You need to keep putting yourself and improving yourself, because a lot of things are, and you can't even know everything. So it's just for you to pick the basic ones that would help you start. Then as you grow, you need to keep learning. Like even all these senior consultants, senior UX, like all these UX or senior UX consultants, they still learn, they still read articles, they still buy books, they still take courses, they still go for conferences, webinars, because there are things that you don't know. In fact, a whole lot of things that you don't know. So exposing yourself and being curious to know what you don't know is very important. But if you feel complacent, you just feel like, well, I already have the basic, I should be able to. In fact, learning should be everyday thing for you as a UX designer. Like everyday thing, even if it is an article, not just a random article. There is a problem that you discovered yesterday that you don't know how to go about. The fresh start in the next morning, Google search it, look for an article that you can read that can enlighten you, take courses, all those kind of things would help you to grow as a UX designer. You need your problem solving skills, you need your critical thinking skills, because there will be sometimes that you need to take actions beyond or think about something beyond your product requirement documents that you have. And familiarity with user research, all these kind of things, you need to be very good as a UX designer. Understanding of information architecture, how should we lay our information on our platform that will be usable and, let's say, easier for users to use. And what does a UX designer actually do? Maybe you've carried out your own research to understand what UX designer actually do. But I would say that it involves all this, but not limited to this. Same as the skills that I listed. They are not limited to all that, because there are a whole lot of skills that you need to pick up when you are growing as a UX designer. Same thing as a UX designer. What are the things that you actually do? Of course, you conduct competitor analysis. All these things will be introduced to you during the next class. So don't be scared if you hear, or if I should mention anything that you don't understand, you can actually ask me after the class, or of course, as time goes on, you will get used to all these terminologies. So you have to carry out competitor analysis, you have to carry out customer analysis, your user research, develop user flows, your user journey, conduct usability testing, and also you have to coordinate with UI designers and developers. You have to collaborate. So that is where your collaboration skill comes in. As a UX designer, you will collaborate with UI designers so that they would understand what your user flow, your user journey, because you really want to come up with user flow, user journey, and all that. So for them to really understand, especially a UI designer, to understand what you come up with, you really need to sync with them. You need to collaborate with them. Well, I'll just say that the difference, I know some will be like, what is the difference between UX design and UI design? So there are, like, I would say that there are a lot of differences from user research. As a UX designer, you'll be the one in charge of, let's say, UX is how people feel, right? And UI is what people see. So for you to be in charge of how people feel, that means you have to be good and well-grounded when it comes to critical thinking, because a lot of things, you have to put a lot of things. The two works together, because without UI, there won't be an end product. Without UX, there won't be an end product. So of course, the two the two are very important to have an end product and a good product. So for UX person, as a UX person, you have to carry out user research. And user research cuts across primary research, desktop research, competitor research. All these things would be explained to you in the next class. Then we have research analysis, we have design ideation, we have execution. Don't be surprised, as a UX person, you'll be the one in charge of wireframes. You'll be in charge of sketches, like idea sketches, because you are the one that interacts with the users, right? You'll be in charge of prototyping, usability testing. In some cases, you have to work together. Of course, you have to work with your UI designer, with a UI designer or UI designers. It depends on how big or large the organization is. And for UI, you know that if it is about everything that users see, then it has to do with the color, the style guides, they too are involved in the usability testing. They are, it has to do with the layout, the responsiveness and all. But just know that as a UX person, you have to be up, like your critical thinking game should be top notch. You need to be able to know how to analyze, how to think, how to provide solution to a particular problem, how to, especially your presentation skill, how to analyze the data that you gathered from your users, from your competitors, and present it to your stakeholders. So that is just brief difference between UX. Just know that UX is how people feel. So as a user experience designer, you are in charge of how people feel. So just know that if people are interacting with a particular product and they are feeling bad, so I can say that it is from the UX perspective. Well, user experience too can come from UI, like how the colors are being used. So everything, that's why I said that the
Please, we can't hear you.
my God. Can anyone still hear me? Okay, thank you.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can now.
Okay, thank you. So from UX or from your own standpoint, seeing these two graphic on this board, you can tell the one as a user, not even a UX designer. With the one on my right hand side, the login page, the one has three buttons, three primary buttons, which is login me, sign up, forgot password. And the other one has one primary button, which is the one that is filled, and the secondary button, which is this. So they all, looking at this, you can tell, or you can look at, or from your own perspective, the one that will be easier for users to use. Is it the one with three buttons? Is it the one with just two buttons and an anchor link? You can tell the one that is with a good experience and bad experience. Same as this. Bad UX makes the product difficult for the user to use. So bad UX, when I said that it has to be interactive, the experience has to be fun and interactive. You don't want users to just be filling forms without any interaction. If there is a particular place where there is an error, highlight that particular place where there is an error. Let them know that this is where the error is. I like the one that is good. I like the one that is, where the error is. So that is how to sum up, or that is how to have a good experience, or make users have a good experience when they are interacting with your products. So the one that has bad air shows that validation fault. What is validation fault? Is it my email? Is it first name? Users can actually tell what is wrong. But from the one that is here, my left hand side, you could tell, like, okay, the only place I'm having issue is my email address. So that means you give them clarity of, okay, this is where the error is, then you need to work on it. Then it has to be visually appealing. Visually appealing does not equate to good UX, of course. But then just because you are trying to make the experience of your product good doesn't mean it should have bad visuals. The UI too needs to be good. It is the UI that would attract people. Just look at, you want to woo a lady or you want to ask someone out. The first thing, even before you could listen to what they have to say, you have to, look at how clean they are, how beautiful they look, how neat is their hair, how fine is their nails. You need to look at all those. It doesn't really have to be just about the experience. Oh, this lady she has to be intelligent. Of course, there is a place for that. And of course, there is a place to be visually appealing too. You need to be good. Maybe not fine, but everything that you put on, from your clothes to your nails, how is if I don't have a choice, or maybe what I need to do is very important. So as you're paying attention to the good UX, the visuals to need to be appealing. Though being fine or being visually appealing does not equate to good UX at all. It can be fine and still have bad experience. So that is the introduction to user experience. We have, hey, Vanessa says she can't hear me. Can you still hear me?
We can hear you clearly.
Okay. Because I just want to carry everyone along so that I won't just be talking to myself. Thank you. Then we have principles of UX design. So as a UX designer, you need to understand the principles of UX design. Design for your user and not for yourself. That is where you would understand their problem. That is where empathy comes in. So as a UX person, you need to design for your users, empathize with them, understand their pain points. Then feedback, confirmation of users' actions. Yes, it's very, very important. You need to let your user, you need to make them, like there's a book called Don't Make Me Think, right? You need to give them clarity. You need to ensure that your own design is familiar, because there's something called familiarity. Just because you want to go all out shouldn't mean that it shouldn't, like, users are familiar with some things. So don't take that experience away from them. They're already familiar with how some things are. So you inventing new things doesn't mean that you shouldn't be creative, doesn't mean that you shouldn't go all out. But of course, you need to understand things that they're already familiar with. They are familiar with a whole lot of things. So for you to take that away from them, for you to let them unlearn or relearn some stuff, it will take it will take a while for you to do that. So now let's go to another important thing that we'll be discussing today, which is the UX design ecosystem. I don't know if you've heard about the ecosystem in UX design. So the project ecosystem basically is everything that surrounds or influences a project, of functionality, the design, and all. So I would explain this. And so today we'll talk about, we have different ecosystems. I'll take them one after the other. But this is just the definition of project ecosystem. You're looking at what are the things that influences a particular project. Before we even talk about the type of the ecosystem, you need to know what an ecosystem is the surroundings, or what surrounds or impacts a project functionality. You want to design a product. What are the things that you should put into consideration? What are the things that you should actually look out? What are the things that influences your decision if you want to make any decision when building a product? So whether you are starting off a brand new project or you are coming into an existing one, you will more likely need to have a keen understanding of its particular ecosystem. So today we'll just be looking at what project ecosystems are, the 4 major project categories that we have, and how ecosystem can affect your project as a UX designer. Then how to design your product to work well within its ecosystem. So I would say that generally speaking, no project exists in a vacuum. No project exists in a vacuum. So this is to say that there are a variety of processes and considerations that must be taken into account when approaching your project. So the following questions are to be asked if you want to approach a project, or let's say you want to join an existing project, is what kind of project is it? You need to understand the kind of project that it is. Then what are the project goals and objectives? All these questions will let you understand or know the ecosystem that the project belongs to. Intended end products. You need to know who your intended users are. Are they of Gen Zs, millennials? They said they can't hear me. Hey, jeez.
Please, I think you went off for a while, but you are back now. So if you could retrace what you said.
My router is, yeah, my router is fluctuating. Okay, so let me start by saying that no project exists in a vacuum, like I said. So for you to get a better idea of the product you are building or the product you want to build, you need to be able to ask the following questions, because asking these questions will let you know Can anyone hear me now?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Can you still see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, apologies, my network. So basically, to ask this question so that it will give you direction, you need to get clarity of the kind of project that you want to build. If you don't get to ask these questions, how do you want to know who your users are? How do you want to know the type of product or the ecosystem? So understanding the ecosystem that you are building for would give you, will even reduce your workload. It will make things easier for you as a UX designer. So know who your intended users are, know your project goals and objectives is very important. Know what all your user, or like their user types and their work roles. All these things will be forming your user persona. So you still understand things better in the next UX design class. And also you need to know the departments that are involved. You know what departments are involved in this project. Is it the marketing department, engineers, all those? Know your user requirements, very, very important. User requirements kind of different from business requirements, way different. So you really need to understand the two requirements, the system and technology that would be used to build this. Even though you are a UX person, I know, and maybe you don't really care about the technical part of it, but it's very important for you. If you have a good sync, if you have a good collaboration with your engineers or your stakeholders generally, it is nice to know the technology that will be used to build it. Maybe you don't need it for anything, but understanding it would help you a lot, because it will guide you, it will guide you in the type of design system you want to come up with or your style guide and all that. Then what constraints is your project operating under? All these kind of things. It is good to actually understand them. I know that in some cases there will be time constraints for you to not be able to get answers to all these questions. But you need to be able to get answers to most of these questions. You need to understand your goals, your business goals. What are the objectives? Who are you people building for? What are the requirements? What are the business requirements? No, all these things are needed before you can even start a project. So yes, let's now move to the 4 categories of projects. We talked about project ecosystem as what surrounds or influence your project decision, right? Now, for you to even know the ecosystem that your project belongs to, you need to, first of all, understand the 4 project categories that we have. We have 4 major project categories. And inside of this fall into. And the first one that I'll be talking about is the brand presence or awareness. So this type of design projects are generally used to raise brand awareness. Now, while you are trying to ask questions, while you are trying to understand your business requirements, the business goals, you would know if the project is to create awareness or to promote the overall brand. Now, a good example is Nike. This is Nike's own page. You can tell that their own project categories fall under the brand awareness because they want to promote the overall brand promise. They want to, like if you look at Nike's own page, which serves as their centralized area for market messaging. So they want to be able to promote or raise their brand awareness. That is very important because they are able to understand what their category is, like where they belong to in the ecosystem. So they're able to design around that. So we have brand awareness as the first project categories. You should know that if one of your projects or your business goal is to raise brand awareness, you know you are doing something similar to Nike's kind of project. Because for you to tell if you should check their own page very well, what they do is to promote the overall brand experience. Like they promote it very well. Then another one is marketing campaign. That is another set of categories. This one is focused on promoting a specific product, like not the overall, like Nike, a specific product. So let's say your project one of the requirements is when you are launching a new project, you want to use your own page to create a particular awareness, like to market this particular product that you want to introduce to the market. This particular one is, we can Hey, jeez. Can you say hear me at all? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear
Yeah,
you
we
now.
can hear you now.
You just need to manage with me, please. Bear with me for this. So for the marketing campaign, that one is different because they share some similarities with brand presence projects. So they share similarities with brand awareness projects, but the difference is that they are promoting a particular product at a specific time. So just like the way Apple is doing, they are promoting anytime they launch iPhone, let's say a new set of collections or brand, they will have to promote it on their landing page. Let's say iPhone 14 is out today. That is what all the iPhone 14, the iWatch, everything, every product that they launch today will be what they will promote on their landing page. And that is what marketing campaign sector is all about. We also have content source. So this type of project serves to both inform potential customers, their potential customers, and all about their markets. So a good example is Medium. I don't know if anyone has used Medium before. If you haven't used Medium before, you can try and Google search Medium. Medium is a good content source where people will have access, virtually everyone, like allow users to have access to articles, because they are providing content, they are educating people, that is how they sell. They sell by educating people, and that is, we can categorically say that it is a content source product and platform. So that is their own category. So if you are building a product, or if you are looking at, or one of the business requirements is to build a product that would educate their target users, or that would serve as a direct sales pitch, you should know that would educate, let me say, their target users. You should know that you're building something similar to Medium. Medium is using their own platform to educate while getting customers. So it is Medium, I think medium.com or so. So Medium is a good example of a content source. And yes, this is their page. So you have access to different articles. You reading articles, you getting familiar with this shows that they are selling their own brands by giving people content. They are selling their own brands by educating users, by giving users platform to learn. So that is for Medium. I hope everyone can still hear me before I go to the last part.
Yes.
Okay, so we have the last one, which is task-based applications. So task-based applications are the ones that would expect user to perform a particular action. They will allow you to perform a particular action. Look at Amazon. If you want to get something on Amazon, you need to select, order, and receive your products based on your type of delivery, or your delivery method. So this is a task-based application. Amazon is a task-based. Any application that require you to perform a particular action, to perform, to get jobs done, to get things done, you could say that they are task-based applications. So look at Amazon, Jumia, all those kind of applications that require you to take a particular step or take some steps to get jobs done. So this is Amazon interface. You want to shop for headsets. You have to click on headsets category. That is the first step, do all that search. You are performing a task, you are performing actions, you are taking steps. And also we have mixed and multi-category project. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that your project must belong to one. We have multi-category, which means it can belong to 3 ecosystems at the same time. Look at Twitter. Twitter is a content source, right? You go there to read or to get information. It is task-based because you tweet, you like, you send DM, you chat. And it is brand awareness platform. Yes. So Twitter is a multi-category platform. So look at YouTube too. YouTube is a content source. You learn because they put out content, task-based, marketing, brand. In fact, YouTube belongs to the 4 ecosystem. And it is good for you as a UX person to understand the ecosystem that your project belongs to. It will help you to know how to go about it, who you should focus on, and what are the things that would influence your decision if you want to design. So these are the 4 major categories or project type that we have. So, and how can ecosystem affect your projects as a person or as a UX person? Understanding these categories, it becomes obvious quickly that there are quite a few things that can influence your end project. So you have to look at what departments might be involved in getting it rolled out. You talk with them, have a conversation with development about the tech stack that is being used. So you understanding your ecosystem is very important, like very, very important before you build a project, or if you join an existing project, you need to understand the ecosystem that the project belongs to. Is it a single page application or a multi-page application? Are there any specific constraints for users checking out? Can we store credit card information? And if not, what will the payment gateway look like from a UX and UI standpoint? So understanding how your ecosystem can affect your project is very, very important, because a lot of things will come to your mind, especially if it is a fintech app. A whole lot of things will come to your mind. So that is about understanding how ecosystem can affect your project. I hope I am not moving too fast. We are actually at the end of the class, but I just want to understand I am not moving too fast. So can anyone still hear me? Okay, thank you. So the last part is how to design your product for its ecosystem. Now you understand what UX is. You understand what your ecosystem, you understand what ecosystem is. You know the type of ecosystem that we have. You know the questions to ask if you want to design for a particular ecosystem. Now you need to know how to design your product for its ecosystem, because what you want to focus on when designing a product to work well within its intended ecosystem is to get a good understanding of its inputs. Getting a good understanding of its inputs means, what does the product need from the user to operate? You need to understand the output. What does the product create for the user? You need to understand the context. You need to understand the constraints, like what stopped the product from working? And consideration, is there anything else that we are not thinking to ask about? So these are the things that you need to know. This would help you when you want to design a product for its ecosystem. So list all these things out as a UX person. You need to list your input, output, context, constraints, considerations, list them out and be super honest with your team. You need to be honest with your team. What do you need to know in order to make your project in a roaring success? Because you are not only doing this for yourself, you need to be open to your team. You need to let them know what the input is, what will be the constraints, what is going to help hinder and stand in your way, because the ecosystem of a project can influence the lion's share of how your project takes off and lands with your audience. So if you don't really take time to understand the environment, it will actually affect in one way or the other. So I would say that we are actually at the end of the class. If you have any question, you can put it together, you can drop it, you can unmute yourself, and all that. So before we round up, I'll just put this out there for you, that UX design does not mean telling users what you can create, but rather telling that what you have created for them is easy to use for them. So feel emotions. You need to feel emotions. That is empathy. You need to build the emotions, and you need to be able to spread emotions by design. So if you feel their emotions by empathizing with them, you build the emotions with your product, and you spread the emotions by design. That would actually help a lot. So thanks for listening. Thanks for your attention and all. You can send in your questions if we have any, and you can unmute yourself if you would like to speak. So do we have any question for today?
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yeah, please, can you go back to the task-based applications? I didn't actually get you when you were explaining.
Okay, yeah. You want me to explain again?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You use WhatsApp, I'm very sure. I'm not sure if you use Twitter. Task-based
Yeah.
application is that particular application that require you to get things done, that require you to get jobs done, or to take a particular action to get things done. I want to send a message to you on Twitter. What I need to do is search for your handle, send a request. If your DM is not open, then send a DM. That is task-based. I want to make a tweet. I want to put something out there. I need to open my, of course, my Twitter, write something and post. Task-based. Same as WhatsApp too. You want to post IG, on YouTube, you want to post the content, you have to make a video, do all that, fill some things and post. So anything that require you to make an action to get jobs done, or any application that require you to get job done, is task-based. You need to take a particular action. I want to shop for let's say a shoe or sneakers on Amazon. I have to go there, check their categories, filter, is it I search or I filter, or same thing, then buy. If I like it, I can buy, add to cart, make payments, and they'll ship it to me. I made some particular steps for me to get my order, for me to receive my item. So that is task-based. Do you get it now?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Is there
Hello, good
anyone
morning.
else?
Yes,
Morning.
good morning. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the lecture. Please, my question is, like, I got in like 10, 15 or so. So you were at the fifth slide, the fifth page of the slide. So please, like, I didn't get maybe like the first
I will be sharing
four
the
slide.
slide actually. I'll be
Oh,
sharing
okay.
the slide. We just talked about what user experience is all about and what it entails and all. But I'll be sharing this slide after the class. I'll be sharing
All
it
right.
on
Thank you very much.
Slack.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
So from there, everything I talked about is there. And you can also ask me, you can send me a DM on Slack. My name is still Abazrianat. So is there any other person? Do we have more questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Which of us? Sorry, this is Samuel.
Okay, Sam, you can go
All right.
ahead.
Okay, thank you. So when you were talking about the project categories, yeah, how
Yes.
do we identify what category a project falls in? Is it from like the project brief, from business requirements, or the business goals of the organization? Also?
Yeah, exactly. So for you to understand the ecosystem or the category of your project, you need to have a PRD. Let's say your organization doesn't have one, but you already have a brief, right? You need to ask a lot of questions from your stakeholders, like from the owner, from the product owner, or people that owns the product, people that own that particular product. You need to be able to understand what their project goals and objectives are, who their intended users are, what is the business requirement. All these things will help you to narrow down the category of your project. Do you get it? Like, you need to ask questions, ask them a lot of questions around the project, especially the goals while they are solving it, like what they are solving, especially, and that falls under the goals and objectives. Is that clear?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Who else? Yeah, good morning.
Okay, I have a question. So when
Okay.
you were mentioning the list of questions you need to ask to understand the design ecosystem, you mentioned like what are the technology and systems to be used to build it. So, like, I don't understand what do you mean by technology?
Okay.
Programming language, or what falls under that?
Yeah, that is a good question. So let's say I would explain this or answer this with an example. If you want to build a mobile app, right, you need to know if, and yes, it's very, very important to know if this mobile app be built with, if it is a cross-functional, or if you need to build for Android separately. You need to know if you need to build for iOS separately, or what they want to use is a technology like Flutter, Jigget. So understanding this will let you know that, okay, if they want only one app that will function for iOS and Android, you know that, oh, you are not actually probably considering you know that each of these has their own design system and how they work. So if you don't get to understand what technology they want to use in building the mobile app, it will flop a lot of things. They have their own principles. They have their own design principles. Android has their own principles. iOS has their own principles. So building for this differently would determine, or let me say, asking the technology that will be used would determine the type of design that will be done. Do you get it? So if they want to use Flutter to develop the app, you already know how you should come up with a design system. If they want to use if they want to have the app on a separate, or if they want to build the app on a separate technology, they want to build for iOS separately and they want to build for Android separately, you really need to understand. These are the questions that you need to ask if you want to, before you even start designing. Are we doing cross-functional? Like, is it going to be one app, like one design for the two softwares, or I need to design for Android separately, or I need to design for iOS? They both have their own design system. They both have their own principles. They function differently. If you check an app, the way it works on, the way Twitter is designed on iOS is different from the way it is designed on Android. So understanding the technology would actually help you before you even start designing. Is that clear? Am I talking at all? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Who else want to? Do we have any other question? Okay, so if there is no other one, I have a short task. It's just for you to just for you to research or make few research and understand project ecosystem very well. You can list 10 digital products and categorize them under the 4 major project ecosystem with a brief explanation. Why you think this is under content source? Why do you think this application is task-based? All those things. Just list 10 digital products, and categorize them under the 4 major project ecosystem. So I will stop sharing.